Hi, what's going on, guys? Boy TG, welcome back to another video. So in this video, we are going to give out some of my takeaways from the 2024-25 NHL season so far. So this was something that I originally planned to do for my Hockey Talk with TG podcast, which PS, make sure you follow on all your social media platforms if you have not already. So YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, all that good stuff. So yeah, this was a video I had planned to do for my podcast, but decided to do it for my TG Hockey channel, which PS my podcast comes on from 11:30 to noon every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. So we're just gonna do this video for my TG Hockey channel. So 1 week of hockey is already in the books. So I figured why not share some of my takeaways from the 2024-25 NHL season. So without further ado, we're gonna go ahead and get started. So we are doing a PowerPoint just like I have done so far for some of my other videos on this TG Hockey channel. So we're going to wait till this loads, which is taking a long time to do. Okay, there it is. So number one, Utah Hockey Club's fresh start to this season. So there are no ties with the Arizona Coyotes. This is a brand new franchise, new start to the team, which PS, they have been unreal. They are 3-1-0 of the season with 6 points. They are third in the Central Division. They had their first loss in franchise history against New Jersey Devils, which came in a 3-0 shutout. But Utah Hockey Club has won its first 3 games of its new franchise, and it would have been cool to see them go 4-0, but obviously that didn't happen because of that shutout loss to the New Jersey Devils. But they won their first home game, which was against my Chicago Blackhawks, which PS, they play in Calgary today against the Flames. So by the time this video comes out, this video should come out before that game. So they played tonight in Calgary. They won against the Blackhawks, and then they win their games in New York against the Rangers and Islanders, which PS, I think those were both overtime games, if I'm not mistaken. Both overtime games with the Utah Hockey Club winning. And Dylan Guenther has certainly stepped up for Utah Hockey Club in this new franchise, getting 5 points in 4 games, which all those points are goals. And he was the first NHL's first star of the week. So he has been absolutely sensational to watch, lighting the lamp for Utah Hockey Club. Up next, Clayton Keller with 6 points in 4 games. So, of course, he is the new captain for this new team, Utah Hockey Club, which, PS, I hope they find a name ASAP because I really hate that name, Utah Hockey Club. But Clayton Keller, 6 points in 4 games. So, 3 goals, 3 assists for 6 points in 4 games. And he has been really crucial for the team's success so far, and he's contributing on both ends of the ice. And then last but not least, Barrett Hayden with 5 points in 4 games, 3 goals, 2 assists for 5 points in 4 games. And if you take a look at their lines, that first and second line has absolutely been unreal for Utah Hockey Club. So they have a top 6 pair, not bad overall. So we could see Utah Hockey Club as a potential playoff team. And yes, I know it's too early to say this. You guys are probably wondering, why are you saying this too early? We are only a few games into their season, and it's way too early to be talking about playoffs. Well, yes, I know it's too early. I probably shouldn't even be saying this until after the first half of the 2024-25 NHL season. But we have seen Utah Hockey Club's young core do sensationally well, which I wasn't expecting on my bingo card at all this season. So that's why I brought that up. Of them possibly becoming a playoff team if the offensive depth is good and if the goaltending is good. I feel like Connor Ingram was coming up big in some of those games, so he's probably another reason why Utah Hockey Club has had the success that they had. Also, Dylan Guenther's role. So this is something that I feel like fans should keep an eye on. So, of course, he did not score in that loss to New Jersey Devils because, of course, it was a shutout. And I feel like fans should keep an eye on Dylan Guenther as he looks to be the new face of this franchise. So he's going to look forward to make a name for himself for Utah Hockey Club. Up next, got number 2, Cole Caulfield's goal scoring prowess. So Cole Caulfield certainly lighting the lamp in his 4 games. Of course, he did not score in that 6-3 loss to the Pittsburgh Penguins, which PS, that game was on Amazon Prime. If you're a Canada resident, you should be able to watch it on there. If you're a U.S. resident, It's not going to be on there, unfortunately. I thought it was for some reason, even though that it was going to be for all Canadian residents. So it's something that they're doing in Canada, but I thought maybe U.S. residents can watch it, but that's obviously not the case. But Cole Caulfield showing early signs of a potential Vancouver Shark contender. And I said in my bold predictions video that this will be the year. This will be the year that Cole Caulfield has a breakout season. I'm probably not going to say how many points he'll have because I am terrible with predicting points. But I know for sure this will be a breakout season. He probably won't get at least 100 plus points. He should get under 100, probably. I will tell you guys this, probably in the 80, 90 point range. Or possibly in the 80, like close to 100, but not at 100 point range right there. So that's something that I will say. So as you see from this hockey ice rink diagram, usually you will see these up in the locker room, or the coach will usually have this on the bench. So looking at this, Cole Caulfield's goals have been coming from this spot right here. I don't know if you guys can see my cursor or not. Hopefully you can, but usually his goals come from this spot right here. And possibly if they're playing on the other side of the ring, then this spot right here. But most of the goals that I have seen from Cole Caulfield has been coming at this spot right here. And like I said, hopefully you guys can see my cursor. But yeah, right here from the spot. And he looks to maintain his high shot volume and power play success because some of his goals were power play goals. And as you look at his stats from last year, I know he's had some injury problems as well, but he managed to get 65 points in 82 games played. So 28 goals, 37 assists for 65 points in 82 games. I'm hoping that he gets a 40-goal season. I know some people that I know have that on their bingo card. Like somebody told me, like, hey, I'm hoping for a 40-goal season for Cole Caulfield. Somebody said 50-goal season. Highly unlikely he'll get 50 goals, but I'm hoping for a 40-goal season for Cole Caulfield. So that is the case right there. Now, number 3, Colorado Avalanche, terrible start to the season. Now, if you saw my Western Conference prediction standing video, I probably said the Avalanche will finish, I think, 4th in the Central Division. I think I said 4th, and I know that shocked some people. But that does not seem to be the case, as they are 0-3-0 to start the season. And I feel like the main problem is not only are some of their star players out or like solid good players out for them, but I feel like the main problem with this team is Alexander Georgiev. If you take a look at his stats, he is 0-2-0 with a 6.58 goals against average and a .790 save percentage. Those are not good stats as you are a goalie. Goals against, 13. 13 goals against. And he was pulled in the first 2 games of the Avalanche season against the Vegas Golden Knights and Columbus Blue Jackets, which were both in an 8-4 loss. And the team is without Gabriel Landeskog because of surgery. They're without Valeri Nichushkin, who I feel like is a solid secondary goal-scoring player for the Avs on that second line. They were out Arturi Lehkonen, another solid good player for the Avs. They were out Devon Tage, Jonathan Drouin, and Calvin DeHaan. So they have some key players out of their lineup. And if you take a look at this is, I got this off from the Daily Faceoff website. It is another hockey source I use for my news and for my podcast. You should take a look at the Avalanche lines right here. Gabriel Landeskog will be where Ross Colton is, so that will be Gabriel Landeskog, Nathan McKinnon, and Mikko Rantanen. So that first line will be deadly right there. And then Valeri Nichushkin, he's probably going to be, if he was not injured, he would probably most be on that second or third line. Second or third line. Same thing with Arturi Lehkonen, but because of these injuries that the Avs are having, that is not the case. So these are their 4 lines. I don't think I put the defense in there, and I kind of just spoiled my 4th takeaway for the season as I fast forwarded right there. But yeah, not looking good for the Avs, so they need to tighten things up in the next game, which is against the Boston Bruins tomorrow on TNT. So you'll be able to watch it on there. Number 4, I kind of always spoiled this for you guys, but Edmonton Oilers. So the same thing I said with the Colorado Avalanche, and they're going to be taking on the Philadelphia Flyers today. So they're going to be playing Mateev, Michikov, and the Philadelphia Flyers. This game will be on ESPN, and this video should be out before then. So I think that game comes on at 8:30 or 9 o'clock p.m. Central Time. So the Oilers, same thing as last year. Last year, at the start of the season, they had a bad start. It's the same thing from this year as well. And taking a look at their 3 games that they played, they had a 6-0 shutout loss to the Winnipeg Jets in their season/home opener. They lost 5-2 to my Chicago Blackhawks, and they lost 4-1 to their arch rivals, the Calgary Flames. And Stuart Skinner, taking a look at Stuart Skinner, Calvin Pickard. Be honest, I did not expect this bad start from Stuart Skinner. 0-2-0 with a 5.40 goals against average and .805 save percentage. Goals against 8. Calvin Pickard, the team's backup goalie, 0-1-0 with a 4.17 goals against average and a .778 save percentage. 6 goals against for him. And if you take a look at this picture right here, I don't know if you guys can see it or not. I tried to make it seeable. I know that's not a word, but you guys know what I mean. I tried to make it so you guys can see it, but hopefully you can. Matthias Ekholm is leading the way for the Oilers, getting 2 points. He's actually tied with Jeff Skinner and Connor McDavid. So usually you will see Connor McDavid at the top of this list, possibly Leon Draisaitl, Evan Bouchard, who's an offensive defenseman for the Oilers, and those type of players. But that is obviously not the case right there. And if you take a look at Connor McDavid's stats, he has no goals, which usually we see him like the lamp in some of the Oilers games. So, or at least most of the Oilers games, he is a playmaker. He's not showing that proudness in these first few games of the season, but hopefully he can pick it back up when they take on the Flyers and, of course, throughout the season as well. Number 5, I know I'm kind of spoiling this for you guys, but the Devils, they had a great start to the season. They're 4-1-0, and their offensive depth is certainly clicking on all cylinders. Their top players are not on the point sheet except for Nico Hischier, which I don't know if you guys can see this good or not, but he has 4 points in 5 games, so 2 goals, 2 assists for 4 points in 5 games. Surprisingly, players like Jack Hughes have not stepped up, but the team is certainly doing good, and that paid off during the offseason because I know they added Tomas Tatar back. They made some other offseason additions, getting Brendan Dillon on defense, and Seamus Casey's now on the team, who's a defenseman, by the way. So the offense has certainly stepped up. The defense has stepped up. So that kind of shows that the offensive depth has really been clicking for the Devils. Something that we have not seen last season, because last season the Devils did not make the playoffs, surprisingly. But they certainly are starting off good this season. Stefan Noesen, Seamus Casey, Eric Carla, and the other Devils players in that depth has certainly stepped up for the team. And Jacob Markstrom, who I have on my ESPN fantasy team, has certainly been doing good as well. So another offseason acquisition that the Devils have gotten. So I'm really liking what I'm seeing for the Devils. You should take a look at their offense, defense. They have a great offensive depth right here. Same thing with defense. They did bring in, Tomas Tatar's back on the team. Darcy Mercer, new contract signing. And like I said, they got Seamus Casey, who's playing on that third pair with Simone Nemec. And just a lot more off-season acquisitions that I really cannot name at the moment. But you guys get the point. You get the gist of this. That offensive depth has really been clicking for the Devils, something that we probably have not seen last season, which kind of explains why, shockingly, they missed out on the playoffs. And of course, number 6, Lane Hudson's best start to the season. So 4 points in 4 games played. No goals yet for Lane Hudson, but only 4 assists for 4 points in 4 games. 21 minutes and 8 seconds of time on ice per game. And he's showing that poise and maturity while playing those significant minutes for the Canadians. So he's certainly become an important asset for the team. His two-way play is, though, and his ability to jump into the offensive rush has been a standout feature early on throughout the season for the Montreal Canadiens. He could be a potential Calder Trophy favorite, so keep an eye on him. And he's known for his playmaking ability, his hockey IQ, and his dynamic presence on the ice. And he certainly had a great year at Boston University in the 2022-2023 season with 48 points and 39 games played. So 15 goals, 33 assists for 48 points and 39 games played. He led all NCAA defensemen in scoring in his freshman season there. And of course, last season he had 49 points in 38 games played. So 15 goals, 34 assists for 49 points in 38 games played. So he is certainly proven to the scouts and, of course, the NHL that he can certainly be the best defenseman to watch, probably one of the best rookies to watch this season because we have a lot of rookies that fans are going to be keeping their eye on, and Lane Hutson is certainly making a name for himself. You should take a look at the defensive pairings. He's playing on that second pair, and like I said, I got this off from the Daily Faceoff website. This is where I get some of my news from, besides the official NHL website and all the other websites I go on to get my news. So Lane Hutson, he's playing on that second pair with David Savard. And you should check out the special teams. He's playing on that second power play unit with Brendan Gallagher, Alex Newhook, Joel Armia, Oliver Kapanen. So he's right there. I feel like he should be on that first pair with Kirby Doc, Nick Suzuki, Uri Slafkovsky, Cole Caulfield. So I feel like he should be on that first power play unit because that would be a deadly power play unit to watch. An unreal firepower power play unit to watch, but obviously that is not the case. But still good nonetheless. The Canadiens, they have been solid. I wasn't expecting to start from the Canadiens, but they have been solid during these first few games of the season. I know Sam Montembeault had an unreal game in their home opener against the Toronto Maple Leafs, saving all 49 shots faced. I think he stopped all 49 shots against Toronto in that first game of the season, which was a 1-0 shutout, and Cole Caulfield had the long goal in that game. So this Canadiens team is looking forward to getting back into the Stanley Cup playoffs, and they have a lot of young talent on this team to do it. So we'll just have to see where that leads into heading into the season. Number 7, Ottawa Senators. Great start to the season for the Sens. There are 2-1-0 of the season. The top players, Tim Stuso, Brady Tkachuk, Josh Norris, Drake Batherson, Jake Sanderson coming up big for the team. Of course, Josh Norris had 4 points in 3 games since coming back from his injury. So 2 goals, 2 assists for 4 points in 3 games. And he had that overtime game-winning goal and that barn burner 8-7 overtime win against the LA Kings. That was certainly a game to watch, and I'm pretty sure the fans got their money worth. And the fans should look for the ability for the team to maintain their consistency, especially in games against competitive teams in the Eastern Conference like the Florida Panthers, the Toronto Maple Leafs, and a few more other teams I can't name. This has been an odd, solid, great season so far in the NHL. And I don't know if you guys can see this or not, but Tim Stuso is currently leading the way for the Senators, getting 6 points in 3 games played. So 3 goals, 3 assists for 6 points in 3 games played. And if you take a look at the Senators in general, they have a great team. Of course, they are looking forward to getting back into the Stanley Cup playoffs after missing out the past couple of years. They haven't made the playoffs since 2017, and they are looking forward to getting back into the Stanley Cup playoffs. Their forward group is absolutely great to watch. Of course, David Prime was playing on that second line. They moved him down to the third line. Same thing with Michael Matteo. Either that or he's always been on the third line. But I noticed David Paravis moved down to the third line. So that was 2 players that the Senators picked up in the offseason, David Perron and Michael Matteo, which should add some of that secondary or secondary scoring right there. Josh Norris, like I said, coming up big in that game against the Kings, that overtime winner, 8 to close out that game. 8-7 was the final score. I think Drake Batherson had at least a goal and an assist in that game as well. So that game was like unreal to watch. The defensive group for the Senators is not bad at all. Thomas Chabot playing on that second pair. Jake Sanderson, Artem Zub on the first pair. Thomas Chabot on that second pair. Nick Jensen, Travis Hamonic, Tyler Cleveton on that third pair. Of course, Omar has been doing good for the Senators. He's currently out with an injury right now, but absolute unreal pickup for the Senators during the offseason. And I hope to see him come back from his injury and possibly lead the Senators to the Stanley Cup playoffs. But the Senators showing no signs of slowing down, coming out to the season with a good start. Number 8, something that isn't really my biggest takeaways, but just decided to say it anyway. Top point scorers in the league. So Artemi Panarin, I'm probably going to be short on this because there's not really that much to say for this. Not a huge takeaway. So this is going to be kind of short and concise. But Artemi Panarin leads the way in point scoring with 7 points in 3 games played this season. So 2 goals, 5 assists for 7 points in 3 games. And of course, I don't know why I said Jake. I meant to say Jack. This should be Jack instead of Jake. But Jack Eichel and Evgeny Malkin are tied with him for 7 points. Now, I don't know who's going to take home the Art Ross trophy at the end of the season, but I thought of, putting this out there, even though it's not really like a big takeaway. But I just said this because we usually see players like Connor McDavid, Nikita Kucherov, Nathan McKinnon, Austin Matthews right here. But we are not seeing them as one of the top point scorers of the season so far. And yes, I know it's early in the season, and this will definitely change throughout the season. But I just started bringing that up because of that reason. Like, I'm not seeing Connor McDavid, Nathan McKinnon, Austin Matthews, Nikita Kucherov on this list. So this has been an odd list so far. We also see Jordan Kyrou, who's been coming up big for St. Louis, right there with 6 points. Ivan Barbashev, Mark Scheifele, Mark Stone. So basically players that you don't really see on this list. So that's why I brought that up. And number 9, the Macklin celebrating debut. This was something that I felt like stood out to me so far during the season. Not a bad debut, getting 2 points in his debut. He's currently out with an injury, but hopefully he be back in time for the Blackhawks home opener because they do play the Sharks in a home opener, and it will be really cool to see the Celebrini versus Bedard show right there. So hopefully he's back in time for that. But for his NHL debut, he's gotten 2 points, so 1 goal, 1 assist. He was out there for 22 shifts, and he averaged 17 minutes and 35 seconds of time on ice, and he had 2 shots on goal. Something that the fans should look for is his progression over the season as one of the top rookies to watch. Because, like I said before, there are a lot of rookies to watch this season, from Macklin Celebrini to Logan Stankoven to Dustin Wolf, and a lot more other rookies. I was going to say Rucker McGroarty, but some people are already saying he sucks, which I really don't want to say that because I feel like he's a great player despite him not getting any points so far in his first few NHL games. He was scratched the last game when the Penguins had the 6-3 win over the Montreal Canadiens. He did not play in that game because he was scratched. But I feel like Rucker McGroarty is a solid, good player to watch, especially his stats with the Michigan Wolverines, because you guys know, or you don't know already, Michigan Wolverines, one of my favorite college hockey teams to watch. And he certainly did good for them. So I feel like he would do good in the NHL as well, but he just needs to show it. So I know he hasn't really shown it these past couple of games, but I believe that he will. And this is a quote from Dollar Prospects on Macklin Celebrini. So he is an exceptional rush offensive creator with a solid base of pro-ready tools. Defensively, sound, creative, and agile with a knack for winning board battles, and he projects as a top line do-it-all center at the NHL level. So this was something that I got off of Dogma Prospects. And you should take a look at his stats from Boston University last season: 64 points in 38 games played, so 32 goals, 32 assists for 64 points in 38 games played. So hopefully he gets the same amount of points when he returns from his injury, because he is currently out with an injury right now, but hopefully he be back in time before the Blackhawks home opener. The Sharks do have a game today in Dallas against the Dallas Stars. This video should be out by the time or before that game starts. Number 10, as a Blackhawks fan, I hate to admit this, it pains me to admit this, but the St. Louis Blues, they are doing very good so far. Very great so far in the season. They're currently 2-1-0. They are fourth in the Central Division. Jordan Kyrou is leading the way with 6 points in 3 games. So 2 goals, 4 assists for 6 points in 3 games. This is kind of bittersweet for me as well, because I do have Jordan Kyrou on my ESPN fantasy hockey team. And like I said, this is about the St. Louis Blues, and I'm a Blackhawks fan, so that's why I said this was bittersweet. So he's certainly stepping up as the team's offensive leader, making a big impact early on throughout the season. But the question is, can he keep up his point per game pace and help the Blues remain competitive in the Central Division? Most importantly, will he help them lead them back to the Stanley Cup playoffs, because they haven't made the playoffs in a while, and the Blues are certainly looking forward to getting back into the Stanley Cup playoffs. Key roster changes for the Blues. I felt like I should, go over this because of their success so far. They have their home opener today against the Minnesota Wild. So the acquisition of defenseman Philip Broberg from the Edmonton Oilers, one of the key moves that they made on their blue line, as the Blues see him as a top 4 defender, which gives them room for growth. They also added Pierre Oliver Joseph to bolster that blue line, which gives their defense more depth. And I don't know why this word is there. Offense, on the forward side, the Blues added players like Dylan Holloway from the Edmonton Oilers and Alexander Texier from the Columbus Blue Jackets, which brings speed and youth to their lineup. Pavel Buchnevich, he signed a long-term contract deal. I think this was during the offseason, but I'm not sure. And Robert Thomas and Jordan Kyrou currently leading the charge for St. Louis, and the team is, hoping to see continued development from the younger players like Jake Neighbors. Goaltending, Jordan Bennington started in that. Joe Hofer is the backup goalie, which could possibly see Joe Hofer as a future starting goaltender. Season outlooks and takeaways. So improved depth. So the Blues have improved their depth, particularly with the additions of Alexander Texier and Dylan Holloway. Their focus has been on getting faster and more competitive, especially along the boards and in defensive situations. Defense and special teams, the Blues have made an effort to strengthen their penalty killing unit, which Coach Drew Bannister emphasizes the more responsible defensive game, and players like Matthew Joseph and Radek Foska are expected to contribute in this area. But overall, the Blues are looking forward to being a playoff contender. And if the young players step up, and if Jordan Bennington has that great consistency in net, they will be a playoff team. But you'll just have to see how they do in the Central Division and in general in the league. And if you take a look at the St. Louis Blues offense and defense, certainly it kind of has improved. It really has improved, which explains the great start to the season so far. On defense, like I said, Philip Broberg playing with Justin Falk on that defensive pair. Nick Leddy, Colton Parayko, first defensive pair. Ryan Suter, Matthew Kessel, that third defensive pair. Forward group is solid. It's solid. But yeah, not a bad forward group at all from the Blues. Of course, Brandon Saad, former Chicago Blackhawk, activated off of IR. Of course, Nicoletti also played for the Blackhawks as well. So he's going to be sliding in on that first line with Robert Thomas and Jake Neighbors. So not a bad forward group, not a bad defensive group from the Blues. Absolutely solid. And bonus one, this is one that I would throw out there, but no goal scoring from Austin Matthews. And this is something that, we usually don't see for him, but he is the captain of the Toronto Maple Leafs. And he's certainly known for his goal scoring ability, having recording or notching 40 or more goals in each of the previous 4 seasons, including a career high 60 goals in 2021-22 season. And started the season without any points is unusual for a player of his caliber. Previous performance, Austin Matthews almost had 70 goals last year in that final game against the Tampa Bay Lightning, but he fell short, which last season he had 107 points in 81 games played, so 69 goals, 38 assists for 107 points in 81 games played during the 2023-24 season. And if you take a look at his stats from the first 3 games, not very good. In their last game against the Pittsburgh Penguins, which that was their home opener, and they won. He had 8 shots on goal. He was out there for 26 shifts, averaged 21 minutes and 46 seconds of time on ice. So I really thought that he can get a goal in that game, but obviously not the case. But hopefully he steps up for the team throughout the season. And another thing, just throw this out there. I also basically, when I seen any goals from him, I don't know. Did the Capitals play at all this season? It's just their first. I think they played a few games. I'm not really sure on that one, but hoping to see Ovi break the goal record this season. But that will depend on if he stays healthy throughout most of his games and continues that goal scoring prowess that we have seen from him before. All right, guys. So that is going to do it for this video. So let me know you guys' thoughts on this. Do you agree with some of these takeaways? Do you disagree with them? Let me know your thoughts on this. I don't know why this is freezing up. But hopefully you guys have a great rest of your day. Make sure you subscribe to the TG Hockey channel for more content. And like I said, I don't know why this is freezing up, but hopefully this unfreezes soon. And I will see you guys next time.